All right, I have a couple things I wanted to go through before I bring up our co-speakers today. So first thing, headshots. If you aren't aware, the fourth Thursday of every month, we do free headshots. So come in, if you get one and you don't like it, come back the next month, get another one. If you don't like it, come back. Yeah. If you cut 10 pounds for some reason, come back, get another one. So the fourth Thursday of every month during our new agent orientation, Logan, who is our partnered media company, is doing free headshots. He also does photography, does a great job, does Zillow walkthroughs, 3D tours, all that kind of stuff. So he gives us free headshots during our new agent orientation, fourth Thursday of every month. We have a new portal, and we've actually had a lot of people getting into it, which I'm really excited about. And I kind of want to just show everyone a little bit of it today, just so you can kind of see all the tools inside of it. So when you log in, it has some of the same stuff. It's got what your year-to-date volume, pending volume. You can see what you have under contract. You can see what you've closed in the last year-to-date. You can click LTM and see what you closed in the last 12 months is what that means. So you can kind of see what you're earning in a 12-month rolling process, whatever it might be. All this kind of stuff. It shows you your cap progression. If you are on an 80-20 plan, you can kind of see where you're at to your $5,000 cap. If you're on 100% model, you can see where you're at to your transaction fee cap. Announcements, ranking boards, all that kind of stuff. But some of the main things I wanted to show you was, over here on the side, you've got the agent roster. So if you need to get a hold of someone inside the company, you can come out here and see their contact information. It also shows you an agent map that'll actually map out where all of our agents are at. So if you need someone in Mustang or Moore or Oklahoma City or whatever, you might maybe have a question about a neighborhood or an area, or maybe you need a showing assistant. You can maybe find someone in the area you want to do that, and they can maybe help you out. If you don't want to be on this map, this does not show your address. It shows it at a neighborhood level, so it'll kind of show where you're at. So if you don't want to be on this, you can go into your profile and there's a toggle that says hide me from map. For whatever reason, you have the ability to hide yourself. Company calendar shows you upcoming events as we have them. The other thing is, if you go to company calendar and then reserve a room, this is where you can actually reserve conference rooms. You can reserve, we've had several agents rent out the whole office. I say rent out, reserve, it's free. Reserve the whole office for client events. We had 3 senior graduation parties here over the summer. We've had a couple of 16-year-old birthday parties here. Christina is having a big birthday party for her spouse last weekend. It's on here. Let's see. You can click on it. You can see when we have events. I don't know when it is. But the number one thing a lot of people use is the North Conference Room, the conference room by the front door. You can come out here and you can see when it's available and what the availability is. You just click booking and you can reserve it. So reserve a conference room is a big piece. And then the 2 other things, the support page. This is where you have access. So Kelsey's gonna go here. We haven't replaced Amy yet, but Kelsey's information will go here. You can reserve a room. You can submit a ticket if something's wrong with this portal. Meet with the broker. This is where, if you ever need me, call me or text me. If you ever want to have a 20-minute, 30-minute conversation, you want to need help comping a house, you have a house that won't sell and you want me to look at it with you, whatever you need. You want to talk about fantasy football here in the next couple of months, come on here and do meet with the broker, and you have direct access to my calendar. One of my big things is no one will ever leave Copper Creek saying they couldn't get a hold of Brett. My calendar is on the website. Go find it. It's out there. I'm around a lot, but you can know where I'm at. And then our automated BBA process, all of our extra documents, your W-9, all the independent contract, everything you would have signed is out here, and then some of our vendors. So the support page is where you can find a lot of stuff if you're needing help. Our marketing suite, kind of the same stuff from the last one. You can grab pre-created templates. Communication tool, this is kind of, we haven't started using this yet, but this is going to be, in the future, over the next month or 2, hopefully replace our Facebook page. So this is a Facebook page for all intents and purposes. It also has direct messages where you can actually send messages to your team. You can send a message to our processor. You can send a message to just a random agent. But all your communication can kind of be held in one spot too. And then your My Deals, and the last thing is where you can track your transactions, and the last thing is the training. So every time we do a training in here, it gets recorded, and it's going to go out here. I put it on YouTube, and then I put it out here. So if you miss a training, you want to watch it a couple days later, it should be out here. We have the Sales Lunch and Learns, which is the third Thursday, Compliance, which is the second Thursday, and then the Roundtable, which is the first Thursday. So you can kind of go out and watch those. So the portal, it's a really cool tool. I have there's down here in the reporting, I have a button called the last login report, so I know if people haven't logged in or not. So if you get random texts from me saying, what do you think about this? It's because I know when you've logged in. So we spent a lot of time and energy on this, and I'd love for people to take advantage of it. So go play with it. It's really cool. And then advertising rules. So you might have seen my post on our Facebook page yesterday. I got a call from OREC. They said, hey, 3 of your agents have some advertising messed up. 2 of them have their last brokerage on their Facebook still. They transferred and didn't update it. One person put Realtor but didn't put Copper Creek, so they were half compliant. So they are looking for stuff for some reason. There's not enough real problems out there. They got to go find some. So that's what that post was, is go out, check everything. Google My Business page, any landing pages, CRMs, old, like a Facebook business page versus your private page versus TikTok versus everything that you advertise yourself or a property on. We had an agent ask me about a LinkedIn. It's a part-time agent, does something else full-time, has a LinkedIn where he doesn't talk about real estate at all. As long as you never post about real estate or properties, doesn't need to be on that. If you're doing any kind of marketing, it needs to be on it. So everything you can think of. 2 of the people, I stole these out of Christina's office. So two of the people I got in trouble yesterday don't even know where they found this old website. But there's some website, and they said their old brokerage is on it, and they don't even know where it is. I stole your chairs. Sorry, yeah. So go out, double check everything if you're unsure about it. So we're also, for our September compliance lunch and learn, we're having OREC, David, one of the investigators, is going to come out and do an advertising class. And it's all real generic, but we're going to be able to ask a bunch of questions and try to get some information, because he'll be the one that's getting us in trouble for these things. So the number one rule of thumb with social media is if you're posting a property, either share it from a portal, whether it be the MLS, Zillow, whatever. If you share it from a portal, the portal puts all the information in it, the listing agent, the brokerage, the MLS number, all that. If you're just sharing pictures of a house or a flyer or whatever, and it doesn't have that information on it, you need to put it in the post. And then, as long as it can be one click away to see your license number and your brokerage, you should be compliant. If it's more than one click, if I have to go to your profile, then a website, and then a About Us page, you're in violation. If it's profile and everything's in your bio, one click should be enough, is how they've explained it to me. So if you're unsure, ask. Same thing with print marketing, anything at all. If you're unsure, ask. Or if you're unsure, put an absurd amount of information on it, just at the bottom. Just cram it all in there. License number, brokerage license number, blah, 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 all those things, just cram them on. MLS number, that's why if you share from the portal, it should all be compliant. The MLS portal or Zillow or something like that. So be careful when we're posting stuff. Be careful when you're posting stuff. Be cognizant.
Yeah. The new NAR rule where the realtor, using the language of realtor, like I had OKC/Norman Realtor, and I went to change that the other day.
Yeah.
So that's.
If you're a paying member, I believe you're able to use.
They've come up with a new thing the last couple of weeks. So like they're basically saying that like they're changing the way that you're allowed to use it. You could be
Obviously.
Aaron Shornick Realtor. You can't be Aaron Shornick Norman's Realtor. You can't.
Oh.
You know what
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I went and changed a few things because I was like, oh, and then you sent out that message. I'm like, I wonder if they're just doing it. They saw this.
So Realtor is different than OREC.
Right.
OREC is strictly compliance. Realtor is NAR.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to police that.
Right.
I think it's just a recommendation.
Yeah.
But for someone who's got a really bad brand problem right now, they're working awful hard to make it worse.
Exactly.
But
Back in all the
so
podcasts
stupid.
and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just nothing better to do. Again, no real problems out there, so we got to create some. So, OREC advertising rule, I'm just trying to get that out there as much as we can. It is a huge pain in the neck. The other big thing, if you don't have a team name registered, like Brett Kreger, I can't say Brett Kreger Group if I don't have that registered, or Brett Kreger Real Estate, because that implies that it's a company. I can't say those things unless I've registered with OREC. We had an agent in our last brokerage put first name, last name, Realty. That implies it's a brokerage. He got a $500 fine for that. So stupid. So if it's not registered, don't advertise under anything other than your first name and your last name. That's it. Make sense? It's very, very silly things that we're dealing with. Hey, will you ask Christina? Never mind, I'll go grab it. Sorry, real quick, guys. Hey, I have a paper on the printer. Would you grab it and run for me? Thank you. I forgot my notes on the printer. All right, any questions about those before we go on, move forward?
Dashboard, can you tell what sales are pending from them as well?
Yes, on the agent portal, if you are a team leader, if you're registered as a team leader in the portal, you can see all of your team members. You can see their caps, where they're at on their caps, how much they paid into you, how much they paid into themselves. No, it should be a Word document that's just printed. There's no Word document. So you should see access to all of your team. Okay, so check it again, and if it's not, that might mean they're either not registered to your team, or you're not registered as a team leader. There could be disconnect in the profile, so we'll have to do that. But you should see everyone on your team when you go to team dashboard, you can click on agents and caps, and it should list all their agents, where they're on the caps, what they've earned, that kind of stuff. And then any team income should be tacked in on that team. You can see what team income you have, pending, close, all that kind of stuff. So my dashboard will show you, team dashboard will show the team. So you should be able to see all that. There it is. All right, now I'm gonna bring up our two guests. Yeah, thank you. Jason, you wanna come on up? Jason and Sean, you wanna come on up? Here's your microphone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you guys get to pass it back and forth. I think it adds a little flair to it.
You wanna go first? No.
Yeah. So, high producer panel. This is something we started doing last year, and I thought it's always a really good time. We've been incredibly lucky to grow the brokerage with, I think the average agent joining us is coming over with like $3.5 million worth of volume. Our average agent does between 10 and 12 transactions a year. When you look at that nationally, it's like 3 to 4. So we've been incredibly blessed to grow with really skilled, really producing agents. And we have a lot of agents who are not at or below that, or newer, or earlier in their career. And so I always love the idea of experienced agents that have had a lot of success, sharing what they feel like they're really good at, because you don't have to be amazing at everything. You can be really, really good at one thing and bad at everything else and still have a ton of success and make a ton of money. So I like to kind of show what other agents are doing, kind of show what their production is. So to be in the top 10% in our company, it's about 7 million. And so once a quarter, I like to put a couple people up who are doing over $7 million in volume. And I think that's the top, what's the top 500 in Oklahoma City? I think it's around 7 million. It's like 6, 8, 7. So to be in the top 500 in the city out of 7,000 plus, it's about 6.5, 7 million in volume. So
How many of the 500 do you have?
we've got 29. We are the second most, and we are closing in on Keller Williams Elite. I think they had 38 a year ago. They got 32 now.
But a percentage based on how many.
Yeah,
agents
per
you
capita,
have.
we have a lot. Yeah, we're growing. So again,
those numbers, Howard.
yes, yeah, exactly. Any statistic can do anything at all. Yeah. So I'm big on statistics. So and that's something we need to do a lot better job at telling the public that, because a lot of brokerages like ours, fee-based, you're just going to fill it with bodies, and that's from the very beginning is not what our intention was. And we've been very intentional and very blessed and lucky to attract the agents that we have, and so we've been really, really cool really lucky about the agents that we've been attracting. So, all right, these two gentlemen, I got your stats up there behind you.
Oh.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sean Darling and Mr. Jason Shirazi. I've never said it out loud.
You haven't. It feels good.
Yeah, I love it. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
So these stats are probably about right. I got them off our corded. Sean has tracked 27 transactions the last 12 months, 7.1 million. Jason's got 22, 7.2 million. And you guys, you have two completely different businesses, work in two kind of different markets. And so it should be a good little, one is more lead based, one's more sphere and referral. And so, not that you don't, but where we focus. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just the way it's kind of
the way the cookie
falls out,
crumbles. Yeah. So two different businesses. So we're going to be talking about kind of two different styles and stuff, and we're going to ask questions. If anyone has questions, throw your hand up and ask, and we can throw it into the conversation. I have a couple of premeditated softballs that I'm going to toss them, and then we can kind of get into a little bit of a conversation. But I think it's good for everything to be a conversation. This is a learning opportunity, so certainly ask. But I'm going to kind of tell a little bit about each of your business and correct me if I'm wrong. Sean's business over the last several years has been more portal lead flow driven. So real heavy on converting cold leads over the phone immediately, building rapport as you're showing houses, intense follow-up, because if you don't have that rapport when you first meet them, you have to build that trust over time. And he's had a ton of success converting, following up, building rapport, and then kind of rolling that into referrals and repeat business and stuff like that over time. Jason's, something that's super interesting in Jason, when I met him, he is a part-time real estate agent. I say that in the sense that he has another job, but he sells more than 90% of full-time real estate agents, which is super impressive to me, very curious to me. And so I want to talk a little bit more about time management with him. How does someone with limited time prospect? How do they convert business? How do they follow up? How do they actually work business as someone who has other obligations? But shows that regardless of your situation, opportunity exists in this industry. You just have to find your niche, you have to find your time blocking, your calendar, you have to find whatever's going to work for you and lean into it. So a couple of questions I'll have related to that. Was that a fair assessment of? Okay, all right.
Spot on.
Spot on, all right. I'm going to start with Sean. All right, do you see both? Let me make sure this is working. No, you're good. There's a lot going on back here.
Yeah, I can see all of it.
Okay. We just want to make sure 1 and 2 are both bouncing. If it stops bouncing, let me know. All right, Mr. Sean.
Yes.
I heard for a long time, and I told people for a long time, that online leads are garbage. And you've built a business on converting at a high level with them. What are agents doing wrong when if I just give Zillow or Facebook a couple $100 a month or $1,000 a month, what am I doing wrong to say that they're garbage?
Yeah. When I started under Brittany, which started under you, so I was told that FSBOs and open houses were the right thing, and I thought they were garbage, so there had to be something else that was not garbage. You also told me that you needed like 5 to 7 years in the business to start getting the repeat business. That's when everybody buys and sells again. And so I went on a journey for the first 5 years to try to fill my pipeline with as many people as possible, whether I liked them or not. However long it took, I wanted to have as many at the end as possible. And I'm finally starting to break over that point where I'm seeing that repeat business, the referral-based business. One thing I think we tell our team all the time is, I didn't understand it for a really long time, and then once I did, it changed the way that I did it. When the consumer is online, and I think it's going to everything, I think referrals are dropping lower than they ever have before. Everybody is a transaction-based person now. I think the biggest thing is that from a consumer, when they get online in the morning and they look at a house, it starts a loop, and they're looking to close that loop, and it's closing too early is I think where most people fail. Is the loop is you get up in the morning, you see a house that you like, you're like, oh, I want to go look at it. You get on Zillow, you say, I want to look at it at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock comes, somebody texts me and says, hey, I'm going to show you at 2 o'clock. We go at 2 o'clock, we look at the house, we shake hands, I say, hey, I can help you, and they're like, okay, and then they leave. In their mind, that loop is closed, and if another house down the street is something they like, they start that loop over again, and usually it's a different agent in that loop. And so I think one of the biggest things is breaking that loop at that connection of not being a closed loop setup. It's multiple houses. You have to get them to another location. It can't just be, I wanted to see this house and I saw this house. It has to be, I want to see this house, I saw this house and this house and this house, and he told me about lending and he told me about this, and now he is my plug when it comes to anything real estate. And so now you are in the middle of the loop regardless, because they're going to reset the loop tomorrow and you want to make sure you're part of it.
Yeah, I think a couple things on that. I'm curious, people who have maybe a primarily sphere-based, Jason, primarily sphere-based, are you getting, because I think you're right, even before they call their sphere, they're online. And if they're not careful, they're gonna click a button that causes Sean to reach out to them, right? And so, is anyone doing sphere-based or client-based at all where you're having to kind of overcome that? Like, I saw this one house with this guy. Who was it? I don't know, I can't remember his name, but I saw it with this guy. And then you're having to kind of convert them back, rile them back. Have you had much of that? Haven't seen a lot?
Here and there.
Yeah.
But it's more open houses. And then, I looked at one 6 months ago and so-and-so showed them.
Yeah.
Showed me whatever, but I haven't had a ton of that.
Okay, you're not having to overcome it too much. Same thing with, you have to have the same conversation if you know your client's out shopping open houses. Be sure to educate them on, you can see that house, but that agent's out there fishing for leads. So if you meet someone, let them know you're working with us, and we can communicate if you have any questions. But same thing, if you're shopping online, send it to me, or someone else is gonna get it. And if they do a good job, and your relationship's not strong enough with them, that agent could convert them, and you lose that. One of the groomsmen in my wedding did that. Clicked on a Zillow button, went and saw 3 houses, and then called me, and he's like, we feel bad, like I feel like I have to use him, and luckily I was not in as much production anymore, so I wasn't like trying to steal him back, but I was like, that's annoying to me. Like, you know this is what I do for a living, and then he felt bad because the other guy showed him 3 houses, and so that happens. So you kind of need to educate clients once you meet with them. When you're shopping online, be sure to send it to me if you have any questions. Don't go, one thing we're going to do a training on soon is AI. Don't go to AI and ask how to negotiate. Don't go to AI and ask for stuff like that, because it's just pulling from every corner of the internet and you're not sure if it's relevant to you or not. It's just pulling from some random blog article that was written 3 years ago, or from some idiot trying to get clicks 2 weeks ago. So you want to divert agents away from wherever you want. Otherwise, even after you meet them, you want to keep that loop open so they're coming back to you, not to that next, opening up another loop. You had something else in there. I need it. Does anyone have a pen they're not using?
Can I ask a question? So once you've got them, let's say you see them at that first house, you already have planned in mind maybe 2 or 3 other houses you're wanting to show them, and you're hoping that they might have time to see those
so
other houses?
Zillow has done a ton of research on what the best thing to say to convert online, and it's location motivation, or appointment, location, motivation. And so you're asking for the appointment, setting the appointment. What is their motivation about the house? Was it the 3 bedrooms? Was it the area? Was it whatever? And then the location is basically asking if there's any other houses around that they want to see. Hopefully they tell you that they want to see that. If they don't say, hey, there's this house, this house, this house, because that on the phone breaks the loop for them. They're like, oh, I can look at 4 houses with you. I thought I had to, after I get off the phone with you, I have to go do the same thing 4 more times to look at it. And there's plenty of times we've got on the phone with the client and they're like, well, I'm going to be in the area looking at this house with another realtor at the same time. So can I do 30 minutes later? And we're like, absolutely, because we're going to try to steal you. Like, it's, to the death. But if they don't say that, you go back on the motivation and you're like, okay, they like this because of the area. They have kids. You're trying to probe them for information so that you can already set it up. It's kind of like he talks about on open houses. already have the best house in the neighborhood, a tour set up at 4:15, so that anybody that comes to your open house, at the end, you're like, hey, I'm gonna be here till 4, but after that, I've already got a tour set up for that one down there. I know it's kind of out of what you're looking for, but it's got an amazing pool in the back. Meet me over there and I'll show it to you, no problem. And they're like, oh, that's cool. He took time out of his day to come show me the house. And then that builds the rapport right there, same day.
Yeah, there is, I can't remember the statistic, like your probability of capturing that client goes up like 70% if you can show them a second house. So again, it kind of closes, if you show them one, it closes that loop. Showing them two kind of extends what their knowledge of your relationship can be. So if you're trying to convert someone, taking them to another, just going to another location, whether it be another house down the street, another model, from here to the model home, something like that, but going to another location increases your probability of conversion. It's like something 70 or 80%. Okay, so Mr. Jason, switching gears. Yeah, hand over the spatula. Okay, 20 plus deals as I say part-time. Most agents struggle to hit that mark regardless of their obligations. Where are you spending your limited time? Because I assume your other job's paying you for 40 hours of work a week. I don't know what we're actually doing.
Correct. So
where are you spending your limited time?
Well, I have to be very intentional with my time, and a good tool for that is ADHD.
Okay.
So
don't recommend it.
No, don't do it. But I only have 48 hours gets soaked up, so I have to be like, I can't go to a coffee with a lender or do the things that I know aren't going to add value to my business. So I have to stay on top of things. Like if I get a question about a contract or something, I answer it quickly. I don't put it off. And I answer my phone, and it doesn't matter where I'm at. If I'm the only reason I have another job is because you have to.
Yeah.
None of my clients know.
Yeah.
No other agents know. I don't consider it part-time, because if you think of it part-time that way, you're going to treat it as a part-time thing.
Yep.
So, and I love real estate. It's my passion. I'm a contract negotiator for the Air Force. So, which actually really helps me with this, because the contracts I negotiate on a much larger scale. I've been doing that for 20 years. So the end of that career's life is fastly approaching, hopefully. But anyways, I can take a lot of the tools that I have with that and apply them to this, which helps me and my clients. It really serves my clients great. So
when I was at the bank, I was taught a management tool, and it kind of comes to it played well in my ADD, I think, but it's a workflow. If something pops up, can it be done in 2 minutes?
Yeah.
No, time block it, put it on your calendar later.
Right.
If it can be done in 2 minutes, knock it out.
Right.
Or can it be delegated? Yes, delegate it. No, can it be done in 2 minutes? No, time block it. Can it be done in 2 minutes? Yes, knock it out, do it. And so for the brain that scatters constantly anyway, if it's not on a calendar and if it's not in front of my face, I will forget about it. It's gone. It's gone. It's out the window. It took my wife 10 years to figure this out, to accept me for who I am. And so she's very intentional about putting stuff on my calendar when it needs to be on my calendar, double checking it's on my calendar. And so understanding how your brain works, and then having kind of little frameworks to getting things done throughout the day. But that was something I learned back in a management class back at the bank, and I've applied it pretty regularly. If I can't do it in about 60, 90, 180 seconds, then I just either delegate it or put it on my calendar later. Yep. Or push it into, I'm a big fan of kicking it back to someone else. Yeah. Even though I know they're not going to do it, but I just know that they're going to kick it back to me, and hopefully hopefully it doesn't get
the bell rung again.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like setting a reminder that I don't know when it's going to go off, but I know they're going to remind me later. So kind of what you're talking about, and I want to come back to this a little bit. You can't do the coffees. Yep. You can't do the things that agents do to be busy but not productive.
Right.
And it's what we call income producing activities.
Right.
So I'm going to press you a little bit more on that. Are you to a point now where literally the phone rings enough where I'm not doing any outreach? And if you are, don't answer that. Go to my next question, which would be, when it wasn't that way, what were you spending your time on?
I think I still do a combination.
Okay.
I mean, I will say I have grown my business enough that my phone does just ring from referrals now.
Good.
But
Which is the goal.
right, but I still do the intentional things that I need to do to generate business. Like I sold something on Marketplace last week, and it was a young couple. I gave them a card. I was like, call me, stuff like that. If you don't, tell people what you do, they're not going to know what you do. So, and that's how I've built basically how I've built my business also. So yeah, I still do those things.
Okay. Yeah. So just always be.
Yeah, you always talk about yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, because then what happens is, like you were saying, like you find out somebody sold their house and it's like a family member or something, like, oh, I didn't know you were still doing that. Well, how did you not know? I put 50 posts on Facebook and said I closed on a house. So you're not bragging about it. You're just trying to keep people in the loop of what you're doing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay, Mr. Sean, back to lead flow here. So you kind of touched on this. Let's see if there's anything else. A lead comes in expecting you to just show me this house. How do you get from, maybe a little more tactically, how do you get from that first showing to building rapport, getting them to want to work with you? I think you mentioned just doing a second showing, stuff like that. Is there anything else that we can talk about?
I think the biggest thing, especially with a lot of these leads, you may not even get to the first house to start with, or it's pending, or something's going on with the house. And I think you probably know the statistics. I think it's like 22 times greater if you can connect with them in the first 5 minutes. That 22 times I'm more likely to convert that person than if not. And I think the average is like 8 to 12 touches now, and the average realtor sometimes is at 1. I think they're below that at most. Like if someone doesn't say I want to buy a house, a lot of time realtors are just like, I'm not going to talk to you. And so we've seen it too, where we've started with some of these leads that come in. We will send out a text immediately, and most people want to text nowadays, especially realtors, and so they won't call. But we'll send out a text, send out an email, send out a call, or we'll call, and then we'll send out another text, and they respond to the text. And so it's not even that the call is going through and we're talking to them. They just needed enough to know that it was important enough, that it wasn't one of 800 spam texts that I get a day. And so they're only going to respond to what seems to be important. And we also, same thing we tell all of our agents is, you never know how someone wants to respond. Like, I worked an entire deal and texted the guy through email.
Yeah.
Like, he refused to text me, refused to call me, but he would send me short little, like, 2-word text through email the entire transaction. And so that's why at the beginning we call, text, email, and then however they respond day one, that's how you communicate with them, or ask if there's other modes of communication that they want. Because the worst thing you can do, if somebody only wants to email or somebody's a texter and you're calling them constantly, they're getting anxiety every single time you call them, and then they're never going to work with you again because you're the guy that calls them.
Yes.
And so however they respond to you, you do that moving forward. If someone's calling you, I mean, they do say always call with good news and bad news. Don't ever send that over a text. You want to be excited with them, things like that. But I also have clients that will like refuse to answer my phone, and then I text them that we're under contract, and they're like, that's awesome, and then I try to call them again and they won't answer. I'm like, hey, we're just gonna celebrate over text.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it is what it is. So I think the biggest thing is like meeting them where they are and making sure that you're not abrasive to them. I think agents get in their own way sometimes to where they make it kind of like what we talked about at the last agent roundtable, is clients only talk about rates because realtors are always talking about rates.
Yeah.
Clients do not care what the rates are. Clients care to buy a house and have a monthly payment that they like. You know, I'm under contract with a car salesman right now, and he's selling cars every single day at 21% interest. And then he came to me throwing a fit about 6, and I was like, absolutely not. He's like, man, now that you say that, that's pretty dumb of me to say. I really just want my monthly payment at this, and I don't want to spend this over this on closing. I was like, all right, we can work with that. But he was just like regurgitating what the world is saying is, I shouldn't buy a house because rates are in the 6s. And it's like, okay, you know, it's baseless. So I don't know if that answered anything about that, but basically just meeting them where they are. And it does suck because I will go show 30 houses to someone I never close a house on. And there's a lot of people that refuse to show one house without an agreement. And it's the business I built, and I was strategic about it when I started that I would not call FSBOs for the rest of my life for 5 years straight to get a big enough book of business. And so my goal was I will run through the shit for 5 to 7 years, and then I will be
Get that
up here in a
sphere
couple
going.
years sitting as him.
Yeah,
And be like,
yeah,
hey bro,
yeah.
I just answer my phone and make a lot of money, like.
That's where you wanna be.
I think you can't stay in it forever. I think a lot of people get stuck in it and they don't know how to get out because, I think real estate in general, people do that, is they make a lot of money and then the next year they're broke. And so then they go out and they make a lot of money, and then next year they're broke, they never invest, they never do all this stuff. Same thing with online leads. Like, there has to be an exit strategy because you're putting so much focus on online leads to just get them across the finish line that you are not focusing on taking care of your sphere, doing all the things that you should be doing. And that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm going to attempt to recap real quick because there's some really
Good
good
luck.
things there. So, fortune's in the follow-up.
Yes.
I think most people make the mistake with online leads thinking they're going to answer my call the first time and we're going to show a house and go under contract. That happens very infrequently. And the cool thing about FSBOs, open houses, online leads, whatever, the average person will not follow up. If you follow up, you will get the business. It's so simple. And I have go ahead.
And that's what kind of taught me was when I was doing FSBOs, the way that I did it was I would go on Zillow, find all the FSBOs, and every time I'd call them, I would heart the property, which was cool because it kept track of who I had talked to. It was not cool because 8 weeks later, when I didn't follow up with them, it would show that it would be listed because it was one of my favorited properties.
Yeah.
And I still see that today, like all those properties that I did, and I would see consistently the Brian Jamesons, the same ones that are out there that I know are following up like crazy, they're the ones listing it. And so it just showed me, okay, he's following up for 8 weeks, I'm following up for 2 weeks, he's getting the deals I'm not.
Yeah, it's no
I would
wonder.
get a couple because there's a couple people that there was enough other agents that called them, and so I was between the 8 and 12 touches, and I just happened to be the first for me. But most of the time, it's going to be those people that are consistent that win.
Yeah, we're looking at getting an AI voice lead scrubbing system for calling some opt-in team leads. So we've been looking at that, and I saw a statistic that they can book 40% more appointments. It's not because they're better at handling objections. It's not because they purposely make it sound like a AI. It sounds like it's a human voice, but it sounds like AI. They're not trying to make you think it's a human. But you know what it does? It calls 8 times in the first 10 days. It calls in the first 30 seconds of getting a lead, and it calls and calls and calls until they answer, and then it says the exact same thing every time it gets someone on the phone. It's not rocket science. Don't try to be creative. Don't try to cut corners. Don't try to look for the best time to call or the best script to say. Say the same thing over and over again, and call when you're supposed to call. And it's a numbers game. I think people are trying to get cute and work smarter, not harder. When the reality is, if you just do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get what you're supposed to get. But the reason it has a 40% higher appointment booking is because it does what it's told to do. Versus a realtor is going to make 2 calls and be like, FSBOs aren't for me. FSBOs don't work. Online leads don't work.
Part of that too, I went to a conference and there was a guy that has been using a system like that. And the number one thing that people were asking is, do clients hate it? And he's like, honestly, we haven't had, he's like, I'm sure we've had some fall off because of it. People are just anti-AI. He's like, but we've actually gotten feedback that they like the AI more because when they ask AI a question, AI just answers their question. AI doesn't say, well, are you pre-approved? Have you talked to this person? Are you working with anybody else? AI is just like, oh no, that house is pending. And they're like, okay, thank you. That's the information I needed. And they appreciate that more than a pushy agent that is just like trying to sell them right there on the phone while they're still a cold lead. And so I think that's a huge thing is AI needs to be going after the cold leads, but AI is going to get it from cold to warm to hot way quicker than you are because we always want to go from cold to closed and it will never work out.
And the reality is that so much of sales is timing. And so regardless of how good you are on the phone or the script you're using, it's all about timing. And AI knows, or doesn't know, but it doesn't have emotions in it, that I'm just gonna call until timing's right, and when timing's right, you're gonna ask questions, they're gonna ask buying questions, you're gonna move them into an appointment. Versus a person has a couple of unproductive conversations with a lead, they're gonna move them to nurture. I'll call them in a year, whatever. But if you hit them, it's all about hitting them when they're ready to make the decision. They're not ready, they're not ready, they're not ready. Just like I said earlier, I'll kick an email off to someone knowing, as a way to, divert it and come back to me. If I'm interested in buying something, I'll opt into its thing because I know if there's probably a salesperson on the other end that's gonna blow me up for 6 months. And I'm not ready right now, but in 2 months or something, I want this product. I'm not sure if I want it right now. So I'll opt myself into it knowing that someone's gonna follow up with me, hopefully. So it's all about timing. It's not what you say, it's not when you call, it's about hitting the timing when they are ready to make a buying decision. And so that's why fortune is in the follow-up, because you don't know their timing. But you gotta get them on the phone and you gotta follow up with them until timing's right, and then you'll get them. And if you stop and then Sean comes along and follows up and just one time, but the timing's right, then there you go, you wasted 4 weeks calling them when the timing wasn't right, and then when the timing was right, you fell off. So fortune is in the follow-up. The other thing, communicate how they want. If you send an email, text, phone call, all those things, however they get back to you is probably how they want to communicate. Do that. I will push back. Once you get the client converted, when we're giving news or when we are negotiating, try as hard as you can, and some people can't, try as hard as you can to have every negotiating conversation to be verbal. There is so much lost in translation when you're negotiating that there's just too many blind spots. When you're talking, questions come up. When you're talking, you can think of something else. Conversation is going to create significantly more clarity than a text. You can easily convert risks involved with a decision. You can tell stories about times we've done this. There's so much more value in talking about a negotiation rather than what do you want to offer? $280. Closing cost, question mark? All of it. Okay. Offers in your inbox. Like that, you don't know. I need to know what my buyer is thinking, what they're afraid of, what they're excited about, all these things, so that the more information you have about a situation, the more you can influence the situation. I need to have that conversation with the other agent too. The more I know about him, the more I know about the buyer or the seller, the more I know about the situation, the more I can influence the situation. And you can learn so much more when you're talking to people over the phone. The other thing is people hate silence. So if you're just quiet for like a second, they'll just start blabbing and telling you whatever you want to know. This is an incredible tool. Just be quiet. If you're quiet in a conversation for like 2 seconds, it feels like an hour, and they'll just start talking. It's a great way when you're talking to the other realtor. They'll tell you whatever you want to know if you just stop talking for like 2 seconds.
And they don't have time to think about whether what they're about to do is against
Yeah.
the rules. And it's not against the rule for me to ask it. It's against the rules for you
Yeah.
to tell me.
Like they care.
And
Yeah,
so,
like,
yeah.
you're right.
And in this, I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
And
but
they'll share.
I truly think that, I say 70%, I don't know what the numbers are, but it's really high, that realtors are the ones that bust deals. It is not like if a buyer and a seller got in the room and we completely stepped out, I guarantee they'd get it to the finish line more times.
Probably
than
at the same
if there's
rate, yeah.
If there's 2 agents involved and the agent has an ego and doesn't want to do something just because that's not what they felt good about.
Yeah. Yes. There's a lot there. That was good. There's a lot in that. We could do an hour class
Yeah,
on what you
just
just
on
said. Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm gonna come back. Jason, how do you feed your business as a part-time agent? We kind of talked about it a little bit. Kind of how and when do you prospect? You're getting a lot of referrals. Are you doing anything at closing to ask for referrals? Are you following up with past clients? Are you going on coffees, drinks, dinners, lunches? Like, why are you just crush it and people are like, you got to work with my guy? Or like,
No, I don't ask for referrals actually.
Okay.
I try to, what you said, I try to let my work speak for itself. Which, yeah, I mean, my wife and I do this together. And we do things like, we send out the magnets for like the football schedules to all our past clients, and we'll do like something around Christmas. We like to touch on like 3 or 4. We did like a thunder sign that we sent out to everybody. So
like
we do stuff like
thunder
that.
sign?
Huh?
Like a playoff thunder sign?
No, just during the playoffs,
Yeah.
we did an OKC Thunder yard sign.
It's a cool idea.
Had my name real tiny on the bottom of it. So
like that.
just stuff that they'll see it and remember. But yeah, I mean, even at like open house, I just have like I guess a different style. at open houses, I don't even do a sign-in sheet, and I just give people my card, and I feel like the conversion rate I get from the people that actually call me back actually use me. I mean, open houses is one huge way I built my business.
Still or no?
Oh, I still do it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, open houses are for the seller, just to, you know, show them that you're trying to sell their house, but we're obviously, they're trying to get leads at the end of the day. But yeah, I still pick up quite a few people from that, so.
Yeah.
And then Lindsay works some, and she's gotten a few too, but it's tough. And, you know, like I had one client recently that I had the house listed for, and he wanted to know what I was doing to follow up with the open house leads, and I was like,
Calling all of them.
I was like, yeah, I'm calling these ghosts, and they're not answering.
Exactly.
So, anyways, I guess there's not anything that I could tell you that's going to be groundbreaking, other than kind of what you said. Like, you just have to work hard. You just have to talk to people and make sure you're out in front of people all the time. Make sure you're doing. I mean, you can. It's fine if you don't have time to do your own social media. I try to do mine. People can tell when it's genuine and when it's a AI or something doing it. So, and even if you can't do it all the time, just every now and then throw a post on there to show what you're doing and how you're doing it. And people, I think people appreciate that.
So, again, if I could recap.
Yeah.
Being top of mind for past clients is a huge thing. And it might not feel like you're doing much, but doing 2, 3, 4 touches a year, if you really did a good job and you guys built rapport and a relationship and that kind of thing, and you touch them 1, 2, 3, 4 times a year with random things, because same thing, timing. It's follow up with past clients is exactly like a lead. If they got that thunder sign and then a week later their neighbor tells them they're thinking about moving, you hit that thunder sign perfect. That's when referrals start coming through. If you never talk to them, that neighbor's going to tell them they're thinking about selling, and they're busy at work. They're on their way to church. They're on the way to pick up the kids from school, whatever. They're not going to think of Jason.
Right.
But he just sent me that freaking sign that I'm pumped about, and the Thunder won last night. And so we're out in the front yard, whatever. So that top of mindness creates opportunities. One thing I'll say too is I would encourage you to ask for referrals, at least at the very beginning.
Yeah.
The first 90 days someone buys or sells a house, statistically they're talking about that process with everyone they know and meet. Everyone at work's asking them how the house sale's going. Did you buy the house? Everyone in the family, they're talking about their sale the most. That's when other people are going to volunteer to them that we're thinking about buying. We're about to buy one. We're about to put our house in the market. What lender did you use? Who was your realtor? So that first 90 days, whether it be at closing or 90 days later, send in a text saying, hey, how'd move-in go? Hope everything's awesome. You need any vendors? Can I introduce you to any vendors? You've been in for 90 days. Do you still love it? Whatever. Something like that. Hit them when timing is really, really right, because they're having the most conversations in that first 90 days. It's a really good opportunity.
I think you have to be careful too of every realtor wants to show that they're super busy online. And I've literally had Sphere clients be like, are you accepting new clients? Can you help me right now? And it's absolutely. They don't know, I need 17 more of you.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes we do a bad job at saying we're super busy, and then we don't ask for repeat business, or we don't ask for referrals. And so they think, well, they did me a solid to help me, but they're too busy to take on my neighbor. And so I think asking for a referral is not super invasive. It's just saying, hey, if I did a good job for you, I want to be the guy for everybody else. I am accepting more clients.
Yeah, the reality is, unless your client or friend or family or whatever, unless they're in sales, they have no idea the value of a referral. If I just get up every day and go to my W-2 job, and if someone refers you to the Air Force, or that doesn't help Jason at all. But if you refer me to my, yeah, don't go to the Air Force. But if I work for MidFirst Bank and someone's like, hey, I told my friend to go open a checking account at MidFirst Bank. Cool, that does nothing for me, thank you. But in real estate, or when we're selling something, that's a referral is huge. And so the average person who's not in sales has no idea that you need referrals to grow and to survive and grow your business. So making sure they know this is what I want and this is how you can help me, for the average person is super, super helpful, so that they can do that. And if you stay top of mind and they know you want business, then it can together, you can get good business.
And if anyone ever screws you over or busts a deal because of their bad decisions, always throw it on them. That's like, hey, you screwed me over, that's fine, but you better send me anybody that you got. And they feel obligated, and you'll make way more money on that than you ever would have on that one sale. And so anytime something goes south and I did everything I could and they feel bad for me, but they don't feel bad that they did it, I'm like, hey, from here on out, I'm the guy that you're going to send everybody.
send all
And they
your
will, because they're like, hey, I kind of screwed that guy over. Let me make it right. And I'll make more money that way than I ever would have on them. And it's a better transaction with those other people.
Yeah, normally, right? Tell me about. I didn't prepare you for this question, so I'm putting you on the spot. I started out again part time. You're pulled in two different directions. I started out part time for a while. I had a little bit of a mental block, and I think people who are new or newish or haven't achieved the transaction volume they want or are part-time have a mental block of like, who's going to use me? I'm new. Who's going to use me? I'm part-time. Did you ever struggle with that? And what do you tell yourself? What do you do to overcome that mental block? It's just a mental block. No one else is thinking it.
Right.
But did you ever struggle with that?
Oh yeah, like the first year of real estate was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think it took me 8 months to even get a client, and within that time, you're spinning all your wheels, spending a bunch of money, and you're like, this is never going to work. And then, boom, you hit the first one, and it's like, you hit the ground running. But yeah, I mean, I think we all struggle with that, especially I feel like this year's been a challenge too. So I don't know necessarily what I do to kind of pep talk myself out of that, but I feel like just working does it. And if nothing's connecting, then you need to start talking to people and posting things and talking to other agents and do all the things that we have to do to try to kind of get yourself back into it. So I guess for me, at the end of the day, it's just work.
Yeah, that's what, if anyone knows who Alex Hermosi is, he's talked about like imposter syndrome, and he's like, you only feel like an imposter because you don't have the knowledge and the skills that you should have.
Sure.
So overcome that by going and acquiring the knowledge and the skills and the experience and the hours, the time on task to not be an imposter. Now I know, if someone comes to you now and asks, you don't have any of that struggle because I've sold X volume and X whatever, you're lucky to be in front of me right now, is the reality with anyone up here. So yeah, that's that imposter syndrome, is just go learn the things that you're afraid you don't know, and then that goes away. The other thing, we kind of said it earlier, I was part-time for 9 months. I sold 9 houses in that period. Only one person knew I was part-time, and I told them for whatever reason. No one else asked. I did a good enough job. I communicated well. No one had any reason to believe that I had any other obligations. No one, as long as you don't volunteer that information, don't lie if someone asks you. If someone says, if you're new and you're like, no, I've been crushing it, don't lie, but don't volunteer that information. Because if you do a good job communicating, that's it. All you have to do is communicate. Answer your phone when they call, answer your text when they call, and they're not going to guess you don't know what you're doing. So don't put your objection in their head. Does that make sense? Most people, like you said, people are cognizant of interest rates, but we think about it all day long because we think it's the number one threat to my income is interest rates. So I have to overcome that objection. When the average agent or the average consumer, maybe half of them care about interest rate. Certain personality types, which are going to be like 20 to 30, 40% of the population, are probably going to care about interest rates. The other ones want the house to be pretty. That's it. So don't put an interest rate objection in someone who's looking for a pretty house. Does that make sense? Different personality types care about different things, and everyone goes into overcome an objection that hasn't even been voiced to them yet. So if you're part-time, if you're new, or whatever it might be, do the things you need to do to be good at your job. Don't tell them these things that you're insecure about, and they're not going to ask. They're not going to care if you do a good job communicating.
Answer the phone and do what you say you're going to do, and you'll have a leg up on probably 80% of the agents in this business.
98%.
Yeah.
That's being nice.
A little bit, but and execute.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I think the number one thing I'm going to start saying, there's a couple things I'm going to start saying every training, I think. This is one of them. There is no excuse to not communicate. If you don't have any update, tell me there's no update. If you can't get a hold of your seller, tell me I can't get a hold of my seller. But to not answer my phone calls because you can't get a hold of your seller is the most infuriating thing and unacceptable thing. We are a professional intermediary. Our only job is to communicate. That's it. We guide clients on stuff, but our only job is to communicate details. If you can't do that, like, that's infuriating. No excuse. And so I was at a broker event yesterday, and someone walked up to me and was like, "Are you Brett?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought she was gonna ask me about Copper Creek. And she's like, "I'm working with one of your agents." And I'm like, "Oh God, what happened?"
It's like I'm actually not.
Yeah.
Brett.
Oh, Brett. No. I thought you said Brad. That's Brett.
Brad.
And they were complaining. They wrote an offer. It took them take our agent 7 days to respond. Because our agent, I talked to the agent. They couldn't get a hold of the seller. Explained it's unacceptable. So certain things need to be said over and over and over and over and over again. And this is one I think I'm going to start to say as much as I can. So if you have no information, share that information. That is all you need to do. No one's going to bite your head off for trying your hardest and not getting what you expected, right? And if the other agent does bite your head off for not being able to get a hold of your seller, let me know and we'll talk to them. But no excuse. Communicate's the only thing. You do that well, everyone will like working with you and you will get clients and referrals. It's so simple to achieve a high level at communication. It's so simple. Over communicate. So that's today's soapbox.
One of the biggest things, agent.
I might post on Facebook about that.
If you are a new agent, I used to get scared, like if it was letters instead of numbers for the agent ID, I was like, oh gosh, I'm screwed. Now, I learned very quickly how to look up production, because if somebody is being super shitty to me, the very first thing I'm doing
How much have you done?
is I'm seeing how much you've done in the last 12 months, because chances are just because you have letters doesn't mean you've done a whole lot.
No.
I've done more in the last 3 months than you've done in the last 3 years. You have no business talking to me like that. And most agents don't know the contract. So if you can know the contract inside and out, you can eat anybody's lunch in this business, because they just say, hey, I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm like, been doing it wrong for 20 years, but this is actually what it says.
A lot's changed in 20 years, dude.
Yeah. And I think that's what, like we saw the negative side of the whole thing with Jeff Long, of like, he was basically saying what the contract said, and then agents were proving how dumb they were on the contract and then blaming him for putting it on a public forum.
Yes.
It's like, for one, if you're not 100% sure, or even if you are, and it has to do with real estate, just don't say it online. But if you're not sure, definitely don't say it online, or say, I've been doing it this way. We just had one, I got a text from someone on our agent on our team, and he's like, hey, this is the third person that is refusing to mark the property pending until I get earnest money. And I'm like, well, okay. Very first thing I did is logged on to MLS, okay, rules and guidelines, and sent him section 10 that says you must do it in 2 business days, regardless if earnest money is in or not.
Yeah.
Earnest money does not lock a contract. And she said, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I was always told that you don't mark it pending until earnest money's turned in. She's like, but thank you for sending me that. I'll mark it pending right now.
Yeah.
And he's a brand new agent telling a 20-year agent what the rules are. And she's like, hey, I apologize. I'll do it right now. But most people will not go search for the information to do it right.
And there's also, I know Sean is a tactful communicator. One thing, I think I'm writing down another video idea I'm going to put on the Facebook page. The worst thing, this is the problem with most agents. There's like this chip on agents' back to like, I'm the good kind of agent and everyone else is the bad kind of agent. I don't know, at least when I'm looking at that dumb Facebook page, that's what everyone's just up on their pedestal looking down at everyone. And it's like, everyone does it bad. And there's some names on there I've never seen before. And I'm just like, if I have to get lectured by some agent, again, I'm always this close to just going off on that page, but it's not beneficial. So the problem with agents is, most agents, like that one 15 plus years, they are, again, I've said this before, it's like, how do you say it? Rarely right, but never in doubt, I think is how it goes. They're incredibly confident, but they're wrong most of the time. And so and when I was new, I'm like, oh man, I must have messed this up, or I didn't know that. And the reality is like, they are wrong. They're doing this wrong. But for whatever reason, they have this air of confidence and arrogance, whatever it is. So worst thing you can do, because those agents, what they normally try to do is tell you how to do your job. If someone's wrong and you know they're wrong, do not tell someone else how to do their job. Seek first to understand why they misunderstand this, and then ask if you can provide some guidance. Like, hey, I wanted to learn, I didn't know that. I wanted to go check it out for myself, and I found on the MLS, whatever the conversation you had, but do not just lecture someone on how to do their job, because you might be wrong. That happens every now and then. But that's the number one thing, is seek to understand this disagreement. Why do you think that? Well, because my broker 20 years ago told me that. Okay, well, the MLS rules today say this, and let's first seek to understand and just do not tell people how to do their job. It's the number one way to shut off goodwill in a negotiation or in a conversation. And I think that's what most agents do, is they jump immediately here's how you do your job. And it's...
Or they say, I've been doing this for 25 years.
Every person who's told me how long they're doing their job has messed something up.
Yes.
Yeah. 100% of the
Yeah,
agents.
it's after a problem.
After a problem, that's what you say, exactly. No, that's human.
That's life.
So there's a difference between... Yeah, so there's a difference between guidance and like jumping in and doing their job for them. And so I try as much as I can to guide and ask questions rather than tell them what to do. So yeah, sometimes people, screw up, and we have to be firm with what the next steps are. But in general, if they're like, I don't have to move it pending, rather than just lecturing them and just jumping down their throat, it's a training opportunity. And it's not like I'm right, you're wrong. It's, hey, I went and looked at it myself and I learned this today. Did you know this? And it's different than you're dumb, I'm smart, do what I say. And I think that's how most agents try to communicate with each other. In my experience. Maybe it's different now, I hope, but I doubt it. I watched that stupid page.
Yeah.
I think I might make it a requirement. Anyone who joins Copper Creek has to get
delete
out of that
it.
page.
Yeah, that's what
I can hate
that
that
page
page.
and a lender that is like the most anti-realtor lender I've ever seen in my life
Is in there?
online,
Ah.
always talking crap about all the things that realtors do and why it's not a good idea. And Casey was saying just yesterday, she's like, I truly think I need to delete both of those because it's already a mental game right now.
Oh,
I mean, she
yeah.
got in less than a year ago. Like, she's like, you said this would be fun. This is not fun. And she's like, every time I get online, it's like another realtor talking down to another realtor. Like, this is the business we're in.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think it's truly because every agent's freaking out and barely making mortgage payments. And so they're just lashing out at other agents, but it doesn't help anything.
Yeah, pointing fingers like you're the reason my income's down because
Yeah.
you're unprofessional. Yeah, it's
I literally
terrible.
just go to that page to find what realtors I don't want to work with.
I've tried.
If I have
to.
multiple offers and one has a red hat on, I'm probably not picking that.
It's a long list.
They got a book, but I got a book too.
There's an agent there, and we'll end this because we're not productive anymore. We're not talking about anything. Thank you guys for being up here. I appreciate it.